SAS programming challenges in ISS and ISE studies. Inconsistent variables introduction. Say for example, I have studies A to L, which are 12 studies that needs to be pulled into one single ISS or ISE study. Now ISS stands for Integrated Summary of Safety. ISE stands for Integrated Summary of Effectiveness and Efficacy. SJTM and ADAM data standards wherever relevant. Inconsistent variable naming and coding conventions across studies. That is the problem. Now the problem is the same concepts use different variable names and formats. Say for example, in one study it is subject ID versus unique subject ID. The same with treatment it is TRT, whereas in another study it is TRT01A. So there is no consistency in the variables naming and coding conventions. So this is the mostly the common problem that you will see in while combining multiple studies into one ISS and ISE. So let's go through its solution. So the solution here is to build a mapping dictionary, a variable map that lists source variable which converted into target canonical name. Now you can also automate variable renaming during load macro driven. Now the very first thing is you need to identify what are the variable names for each and every study, for each and every data set. You need to create a dictionary, right? And then you need to find out as to if these are the variable names, how I need to map it, right? So that mapping, first of all, that list needs to be generated. Inconsistent variables real world scenario. Say for example, study A uses SUB ID, study B uses unique subject ID, whereas study C uses sub underscore I number. Now this is just a small example related to one specific variable. There may be more than one variables, and mostly all the variables will not match across the 12 different studies because they were conducted in different CRO companies, or they were conducted at different time schedules, or they were handled by different team members. So you may not know. So this is the challenge that you will see, that how to bring all the inconsistent variables into consistent variables. So that is through mapping dictionary. That the solution we saw. The next is to create variable map dataset with columns study ID, src underscore variable which is a source variable, and the target variable name, and transform rule. So these are the 4 columns, just an example as to how you can create this data set. To recall which study ID it is, the source variable name and the new variable name that you would like to assign in order to make all the consistent variable names across all studies, and the transformation rule. Then you can also create a macro to harmonize the study ID, incorporating the dataset name that reads the variable map dataset for study and uses rename or prog SQL to create canonical variables. So you can use rename or prog SQL function in this macro just to ensure that things are created, consistent variables are created. Now the SAS hint is to use array and call symptotext loops to build dynamic rename list. Now remember one thing, it's a very daunting and a tedious job to handle so many data sets when you have more than 12 studies. So here you have to ensure that the variable names, their labels, their attributes, for example the length, format, in format, everything needs to be in sync. If it is not sync, like say in one study you have put format 10, and in another remaining studies you have assigned the format 8 or some other format, when you append it horizontally or vertically, it will not match properly, it will give you garbage. So it's a very precision kind of work that you need to do while handling this inconsistent variables to convert into consistent variables, so that you get the correct results and the correct mapping data set with all the new target variable names and the conditions. Many thanks for watching my video and happy learning. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a feedback comment. Many thanks for your support and having great connection.